Welcome to last week's news today and another week of Ash's development. A lot of great info this week from Discord, forums, and the live stream. So we are going to jump right into it with, how many nodes will Carfin tie to? Then Steven replied that it's a little more complex than that. There's a layer of intricacy between how the neighboring nodes advance and what potential parent structure they have in the vassalship tree. If you want to learn more about vassal nodes, we'll pop the link below. On Monday and Tuesday, the forums were treated to some bonus details on story arcs by Scotty, the primary designer of the system. We're going to summarize these posts as they're quite large, but y'all can check them out through the links below the video. Story arcs don't function in the same way as public quests in other games. An arc unlocks like a package which contains content such as NPCs, quests, and mobs, etc. The quests become available for a period of real life time, which varies depending on what story is active. And once you have completed the content, your chapter is done in your journal. You won't be able to redo the quest until the arc restarts, which is universal to everyone. He also addressed some of the shared concerns that players had on potential min-maxing of server stories. Large guilds having influence and power is part of the sandbox experience. Intrepid is aiming to balance rewards for all story branches available. This should deter the need for guilds to force story arcs for explicit loot. Intrepid's goal is to design the system well enough to ensure players are more interested in the state of the world rather than the loot. They hope to achieve this by making sure the packs are filled with enough content variety and our story and lore first systems. It's really cool to hear some of the designers' thoughts. We love to see dev interaction on the forums. Scotty also answered a couple of questions. Can different nodes spawn equivalent or the same events, or even influence something in a different part of the world for some reason? Now, most story arcs have multiple ways to unlock them. The Blood Still Dew arc in the live stream requires any Riverlands node at level 3, for example, which means that there are a lot of options that can enable the arc. Will also be limited by the number of major arcs happening in the Riverlands, and even if conditions are right for it, it may need to wait its turn to start. There are some exceptions for things that are intentionally rare or special. And so does this mean that node state doesn't have any impact at all on what raid content is available? I'm saying that quest rewards won't compare to raid drops and crafted gear in terms of power gained, and we won't lock our best loot behind the disparate encounters at the end of a story arc branches, when an arc offers multiple world boss options. Not saying anything here about how nodes and raid availability interact at this time, if at all. So we're going to skip to Friday for a moment. There was a community Q&A held with creative director Steven Sharif, and it was packed with information. The biggest news was what we could expect as our map during Alpha 2. It was revealed that most of the Western continent will be playable during the testing period, but it won't all be there on the launch of Alpha 2. Each biome will be ready for testing once 60% to 70% of the content is complete. He briefly mentioned that this will enable some ocean content to be utilized. It is possible that some of the eastern continent will be included later on in Alpha 2, but it isn't necessary for the testing phase, so maybe not. Intrepid will be adding content throughout the uptime with wipes and focus testing where necessary. Steven also reminded us that Alpha 2 won't be feature complete, leaving us with plenty of surprises for launch. And the Underrealm is still about the same size as it was before the map changes, as we're reminded that the Underrealm's purpose is to act as a method of alternative trade routes and home to some nodes. Steven did confirm that there will be some bodies of water in the Underrealm which will allow for gathering resources, but we won't be able to use ships in these areas. The Q&A stream was around an hour and a half long, and luckily for us, Reeve has made us an excellent recap of all 30 questions in 15 minutes. We recommend checking his video, it's definitely worth a watch. And we still have more to share. This week has been chunky. We've got a new monthly wallpaper by lead concept artist Ryan Richmond with a little description exploring potential cloud shapes and interaction with the environment. But of course, I did it in the context of a gameplay encounter to better understand it from a player's point of view and get more bang for the buck. Also, quick reminders that Flavors of Fellerin cosmetic skins are available until April 12th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And if you missed it, costumes do not need to adhere to the armor type it is applied to. But don't worry about not being able to see armor type, as that type of armor, cloth, leather, and plate the character is predominantly wearing is visible in their nameplate. And Steven shared a recruitment post on Thursday. We updated it for you, Steven. Some additional postings on the website too, links down below. And we've seen a few people asking if Intrepid will be allowing players to upload photographs of themselves in the character creator with AI assisting to make replicates. But they've talked about it, but not currently something supported by the character creator. And for all our forum friends wondering what about the new category, hey Mist, is this a new category on the forums? Just want to confirm that it is locked. Can't access it. Mist replied with correct. That forum section will be where official content creators will post their stuff. Since there aren't any official creators yet, it is locked. What a tease. And finally, we could not share this fan art this week. Look at it. What a beautiful Dunier inspired table. Great job, Olaf Screw. Sorry. That's all for now. See you next week.